Well, Marky Dragon, also known as Marcus Eikenberry in real life, and today I've got Jason Appleton with me from Monger. And Jason, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
So, now, you caught my interest with Monger because I hear that it has, well, first off, tell us what Monger is.
Oh boy, Monger is, you know, back in '97 when Ultima Online came out, it was my first experience in a multiplayer game. It was my first experience in MMOs, period. Well, pretty much everybody for that matter. But it was such a surreal experience for me, you know, having been a gamer for, you know, quite a while leading up to that point. It was really the first game that ever truly captured my interest, got me excited, gave me something to look forward to every day. There was always something new to do. And so, you know, Monger is really... There was a period after Ultima Online where I think it was Ultima Online X or something like that.
Ultima X, yeah.
Yeah, Ultima X, and that was supposed to be the 3D version of Ultima Online that ended up being canceled, and I was completely heartbroken. And you know, a lot of people were really let down because of that. And so, you know, here we are. I think it's been 15 years later, and nothing has come out to truly kind of carry that torch. You know, so Monger really is kind of the I like to call it the reincarnation of what Ultima Online X should have been. That's basically what our goal is. You know, a true sandbox experience with some differences. You know, when you first log into Monger, the world is going to be empty. There's not going to be anything in there except for animals, wildlife, trees, rocks, boring stuff that just exists. There aren't going to be big buildings and, you know, little cities that you walk into and get a bunch of, you know, kill 10 rat quests. There's not going to be any of that because you're going to build it yourself.
Wow.
The community is ultimately going to work together to establish the different towns and cities throughout the world alongside their own individual houses and you know, shops and things like that they're going to add to the world, that they're going to own and control themselves. So to try and put things simply, you know, it's the ultimate sandbox. It's a world that you are going to evolve and establish yourself with your friends, with your guild mates, and you're going to own a part of it. So, you know, that's basically the easiest way to explain it. But there's definitely a lot more to it.
So now, did you know about there was a UO2 and then an Ultima X Odyssey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Odyssey.
And both of them got canceled.
Right.
And in fact, I played both of them.
Oh, really?
They were both playable. I mean, not in a massive multiplayer sense, but you could run a character through the world and stuff like that. And yeah, I was very, very disappointed, just like you, when they were canceled. Because, well, the word was they were afraid it was going to compete with Ultima Online. You know, instead of carry the torch. I mean...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, now, so you've begun to build this already.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw, on the intro here, we saw just a little bit of video of you running around in the world. And so, how far... I know you got a Kickstarter project to help fund this, but how far along is it already?
Oh gosh, with there being so many different elements to this, I mean, I would say we're far enough along that we should be able to reach an alpha phase by April. I mean, that's been the goal. You know, I've just been bringing on more members of the team. I just hired another programmer today, as a matter of fact. I'm trying to find people, and this is part of the challenge. I'm trying to find people that aren't just looking to do a job, get a check, and walk out the door. I'm looking for people to share the passion. Well, because, you know, in every business I've ever owned, any industry I've ever ventured off into, you know, I've learned that the best way to find success is to surround yourself with people that know more than you and are just as passionate about what you're interested in as you, and you work together to achieve a goal. That is how, you know, I've kind of approached everything I've done, and ultimately, I take that seriously. So, you know, when it comes to a game like this, that, you know, I consider it a niche title. I mean, I don't expect to have 5 million people playing this game. I don't want 5 million people playing this game. I want a close, tight-knit community that's working together to build the world everybody's going to live in and share together. Okay, and the same goes to the people that are working on building it. I want them to truly understand what it is we're looking to achieve, and really share that passion, to put that little extra touch, that little extra bit of attention that really needs to go into something like this to make it successful and interesting. So, the people that I'm picking to work on this project, I'm being pretty picky. So, we've got a lot going. I mean, we're looking to have a combat demo ready here within the next week. I'm seeing, I'm getting new clients all the time, and I'm logging in and seeing what's been done and where we're at with different things, and it's starting to come together. I mean, we still have a long ways to go. I mean, we haven't started on the crafting side of things yet, and we haven't started implementing the some of the systems like the PvP system and things like that. So we're still a ways to go, but I think that by April we should definitely have something where we should start being able to plan for a beta.
Mm-hmm. And so now you mentioned like crafting. So now that's kind of the tagline on this game, isn't it?
Right.
Make a whole bunch of stuff, put it in your house, show it off.
Right. And that's the primary focus of the game, really. I mean, the way it all boils down. Let's say you're a landowner and you have you've built a shop, you've built a house. You're leveling up farming skills and different crafting skills. The game is going to be very much about. I mean, every finished item in Greedmonger will be crafted by another player. Period. I mean,
cool. You mean I can't go out and kill a rat and find a sword as loot?
Yeah, you're not going to find a sword as loot. You're not going to find gold falling out of a pig. It's going to be realistic.
So we're going to have to skin that pig. Take right. The hide and go and sell it to somebody else who needs it for
absolutely
whatever.
And
bacon.
There's going to be a very diverse loot table to where you never know exactly what you're going to be able to what's going to drop from an animal or from a monster or whatever it is you're killing. It could be different all the time for a while. But those things are going to be what are used to create finished items in the game. And so, yeah, you're not going to find finished items dropping, even rares. You're not going to find anything finished drop off an animal or a monster or what have you. So, what will happen is you will get the resources you need to craft what it is you want, but everything's going to be craftable. So, I just got lost in my thought.
That's okay. I do it all the time.
I have so much running through my head right now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so yeah, crafting is definitely #1 priority, and because of that, we're taking a lot of extra time on it. That is one thing that, we're trying to find a happy medium between between a complex and interesting system and something that's not boring. Mm-hmm. So, the idea of being able to take multiple resources and combine them into something usable, that's great, but I want to add a little bit of flavor to that, and that's what we're trying to figure out. Really, our community has been amazing. I have never witnessed a community that has been so supportive and helpful and insightful and just eager to throw around ideas and discuss everything. And they've just, even in heated topics, the community has just been great. And thank you guys, because that does help a lot. But we're really using community feedback. I mean, just about everybody that's become a Kickstarter backer or has joined our community started with Ultima Online, and that's the one thing that the majority of us have in common is that interest. And so, there are elements of what everybody knows I'm trying to achieve that they're bringing forth the ideas. Hey, what about this? What about trying that? Would this work? So it's definitely a community effort, and we're paying attention. I mean, my programmers, my model, everybody is visiting the forum. Some of them are very vocal. I don't really want them to be because it's, from a PR type of thing, I don't want a programmer or a modeler jumping on there and just rambling on. But, there are some things I want to keep under wraps. But, yeah, I mean, it's a community effort. So I think that answered your question. Is it a crafting this game? Yes. There are going to be, honestly, my goal for Greedmonger is to have the largest craftable catalog of any MMO within the first year.
That sounds interesting. I've got a question here.
Sure.
And my question is, when we first get into the world, is it going to be just like, all these thousands of people who, on launch day pile in, just as if we sent a ship to some other planet and just dropped them all off with no resources whatsoever, and everybody has to, we're all going to punch each other for PvP?
No, you're gonna. Okay, I thought you were alluding to something that I alluded to previously online about the story of the game.
No, I don't know the story of the game, so fill us in.
Because technically there is none. See,
okay,
there is no story yet because the story is not going to unravel until you've started building player cities and community cities. And these NPCs start to pop up within these cities and start giving you little fragments of what's going on, why you're there, and what your purpose in life is, ultimately. So those are things you're going to have to figure out through various puzzles and things like that. Aside from all that, because I don't want to get too deep into that yet, but what was your question?
Well, really, I just, I was just thinking of the wonderment, the exploration of it all, about just arriving in a place where there's nothing.
Right.
And starting out. And
how did cavemen start out? Use your wits. I mean,
Yeah.
Our skill system is going to be such that you're going to be able to level up and down, just like Ultima Online. You had a certain number of skill points. You're able to level a certain number of skills. And when you got tired of one or wanted to change something up, you just set the arrow down, you level it down while you're leveling something up. And you're going to be doing a lot of that in Greedmonger because your capabilities, your skill sets, what you need to accomplish certain things at certain times is going to change.
So when somebody starts a campfire next to me, I'm going to get a camping skill?
Well, not quite. But you might have to beat a pig to death your first day with your bare hands.
They may maul me, huh?
You have some tools that are going to help you, you know what I mean? So, yeah, your first day, it's going to be hard. Your knuckles will be bloody, I guess. But, everything that you have in the world is going to be something that you made yourself. Now, we have obviously made some allowances for that with the Kickstarter campaign because there are going to be castle owners in the game, and there are going to be people who own castles in the island and or on a couple different islands. And so, we have made some allowances for that, but there's also a purpose for them as well that they don't even know yet. So there's a reason why all that exists, and it's not just about the Kickstarter campaign. But I thought it was it actually kind of ended up being something that turned out to be a lot more useful than I originally thought, being that I could include it in the Kickstarter campaign. But there are reasons for the castles, and there are reasons for, the islands was just a nice idea, but the castles there's actually a purpose for.
So, speaking of islands, are we going to have boats?
If you make them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Are we going to have any naval battles? Am I going to be able to shoot arrows at the guy next to me?
Realistically, here's the thing. I mean, there's definitely a big difference between what we expect to have available at launch and what we expect to have available year one, okay, or the 6 months after launch. Will there be boats? Yes. They're not going to be giant barges, you know what I mean? But there'll be some pretty cool boats. We actually already have some of those models done and ready. But, it's one or two man boat, you know what I mean? It's going to get you where you need to be right now. But over time, I definitely I would like to see some naval battles and things like that. Greedmonger is going to grow over time in a way that every week. I mean, my goal, everybody on my team, we know every week I want to be able to just release new stuff. I mean, this isn't going to be about we're going to wait a year and launch an expansion pack and make you pay X number of dollars for it and try to bleed the community. The way the revenue model is set up, if the community is active and vibrant, we're going to make the money we need to make to stay alive anyway. So I don't feel like we need to bleed anybody. This game isn't about making $1 million. This is about giving me something that I've been wanting for a long time that's never happened. And it just so happens there are a lot of people out there who feel the same way. So I want this whole experience to be fun. We are always going to be adding new craftable items, new skills, you name it. So it's always going to be a work in progress, and it's going to expand and grow over time. And I have some really big ideas that we have not touched anything on I guess you can call it the second age, which I don't even want to say that because it really is kind of a rip of Ultima. It just dawned on me.
So is Dawn.
Yeah. so there's going to come a point, let's put it this way, there's going to come a point when the population of Greedmonger, as the players know it, is going to be too much. There are going to be too many people. All the land's gone. Cities are everywhere. Where do they go?
Mm-hmm.
How do they get there? How do they know how to get there? So let's just say that there are definitely going to be options for people to explore new worlds someday. You know, and that all does play into the story, but that is all I'm going to say.
Okay.
But we haven't touched any of that stuff yet. Everything we're focusing on right now is this world.
So let me, let's get, okay, so now you've got me excited about the game. I have not pledged yet, but I know I'm going to pledge something in the Kickstarter campaign, but, and I look at how much the castles are, and I say, damn, I don't have that much money.
Yeah, you know what, it's funny too, because when you see the new castles, they're, I mean, let's put it this way, that we put out a video of the one of the primary castles we were going to have used for this, and I don't like them anymore compared to what we have going now. So, but I'm thinking I might just surprise everybody with them. They're pretty cool.
So now, this is a Kickstarter campaign. Link in the description. And so we've got just a little bit of time left on the Kickstarter campaign. You've reached your goal, and so it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And
it was going to happen without Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
It's going to happen a lot faster now, I will say that.
Yeah. So why should somebody pledge on the Kickstarter campaign as opposed to just waiting for the game to come out and just buy the game?
Well, you know, probably one of the primary reasons why somebody would get involved with the Kickstarter campaign is just there's no parcel limit. The way the revenue model in Greedmonger is set up, you're actually going to purchase parcels of land within the game. Okay, one parcel of land is going to equal to 60 by 60 meters in the game world, which is pretty large. Mm-hmm. It's going to be enough for, you know, a house, a farm, you know, whatever you want to put in there. There's going to be a 4 parcel limit per account at launch.
Mm-hmm.
Up until launch, there's no limit on parcels you can purchase.
Mm-hmm.
So Kickstarter campaign, some of those pledge packages come with, you know, 50, 54, 56 parcels of land. Now, the reason for that is because we want to get guilds involved in the game. So if a guild master, you know, if he's got, you know, 50 people in his guild and they all want to come across to Greedmonger and get involved, you know, hit the ground running, they're going to be able to do that through the Kickstarter campaign. And on top of that, we're actually going to work with the different backers to locate their land where they want them. Okay?
Interesting.
They're helping us now. We're going to make sure that they're happy, that they get established where they want to be within the game world, based off of where we are at the end of the campaign and how many different climates we're going to establish at launch. Okay? So prior or after that, you know, if you join the game in April or May or whatever, if you join the game at a later date, you're going to be limited to 4 parcels. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you have a guild of 100 people and you want more than 4 parcels, each of you are going to have to get your own account, and you're each going to have to, you know, get your individual parcels of land. Now, I will say, and I think this really is a good idea, originally we weren't going to have any subscription fee at all, okay? Because I felt that, you know, what's going to happen is you're going to buy a parcel of land today, okay? You're going to pledge on Kickstarter, you're going to get your land, and then the game's going to launch. And if we launch the game, basically the overall size of my primary programmer, James, he told me that he wants to set this up to be 6,000 kilometers in size, square kilometers. I told him he was ridiculous. He said, well, we won't use it all at first. We'll open it up as time goes by. I think that's a bad idea. But when we originally launched the game, if we had 3,000 parcels of land at launch, and that land is 1/3 of the total mass of the world, then in one parcel is 60 by 60 meters. I mean, you do the math, which I don't even have at the top of my head. It's pretty large, okay? So what will happen is those 3 parcels of land, once they're gone, the demand for that land is going to increase over time with the popularity of the game. The more people that spin in and get involved, and the less land is available, obviously the property values on that $20 parcel just went up. Now what's going to happen is when players want to leave the game, they're going to be able to leave by, I mean, they don't have to do this, but it's an option. They can ultimately cash out. They'll be able to sell their estates in the real estate auction system for real money. At which point we'll take 15% of the total amount, transfer ownership rights from the original player to the new player. Okay, and that's been really the focus of our revenue model. That way, we're not. I don't want a cash shop where you're buying, funny hats for real. A lot of that's senseless to me. In a game like this, everything needs to be crafted by the players. I don't want to offer a shop where they can buy a funny pair of shoes for $2 or 5 cents that cost $10 or whatever. So that's that. I mean, and so. There will be some speculation, and why would somebody want to get involved in Kickstarter now? Because you're gonna be a lot more free to get the amount of land you want while it's available before everyone else.
I did see that. I did some math this afternoon, looking at how many people had pledged against how many dollars had been raised,
right?
And it came out to an average of $157 per person.
It's 168 today, but yeah,
wow.
You're real close.
Isn't that amazing?
We had almost $7,000 in pledges today, and the day's not over.
Wow.
It is amazing, and it's heartwarming in a way because this is a really important project to me, and I wrote a lot of a little bit of backstory about what I've done in my life up to this point, the different businesses I've been a part of, industries I've been a part of, the music business and mixed martial arts and the fight promotion and gaming truly is the only thing that I've ever really been passionate about. And for this game to do well, it really is a big deal for me. And I mean, if I took a camera around the house, I've got a big screen TV in the living room. I got one upstairs. I have a big screen TV in the bedroom, which my computer PC is hooked up to, along with my PS3. I have every console. I'm not just a PC gamer. I'm just a freak gamer. I have everything. I've got the handhelds in the bathroom. I mean, and that's really where I want to spend my time, and that's really what I want to focus on. And luckily, I've done well enough in what I've done prior that I can afford to do this now, and it's kind of a luxury thing. But to have. When I read an article about Kickstarter, it's really why I set this up, because I thought, well, I'm gonna, I'm doing this game, and other people might want to help and might want to get involved, and I'll be able to find out just how many people think this is a great idea. Am I wasting my money? Am I wasting my time?
Right.
And my wife thought I was crazy because I've been putting so much of my own money and resources into getting everything done up to this point, and. She saw the Kickstarter campaign, and I told her about it. She was like, "Oh, that's great, honey. Ha ha ha, whatever." And here we are. I mean, it's almost at 40 grand, and it's been a matter of a couple of weeks. Wow. And now she understands why I've been so excited about even getting this game built, because she knows now that there are a lot of other people out there that share my vision and they really want the same thing I do. So Kickstarter has been great just for the sheer validation that I'm not wasting my money and time, that people are going to enjoy this, that it's going to be worth doing.
I'm gonna bid. I'll contribute. So most definitely, I think this can be pretty good. So now I think we're about at our limit for our time for this episode, but sure. I do want to say that. We got a couple other episodes coming up. We've got one for PvP and PvE, and then also another one where we're going to talk about housing and the rares market. So, okay, Jason, I thank you very much. Now, everybody, go take a look at the link in the description. What's the minimum that they can pledge? To get into the game,
to get a land parcel, the minimum is $25.
$25. So yeah. $25 to buy a piece, and right. I will be doing at least $25. I'd really like a 64 plot, but I'm not that rich.
Aim high.
Aim high. So, okay, Jason, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time, and we'll do this again real soon.
Sounds great.
Okay, and take care, everybody. And click that link down below. Go pledge.